Hello, everyone. Welcome back to my Jay Bird. And this is game 48 of Battle of the Boxes, remembering 1976 and the 1977. With no help, no assistance of any kind whatsoever, to bot 1500, I beat. I'm running 16 game series, and I explain a little bit. What you're seeing basically is what happened back in 1977 with the opening here. And I'm in black. And before I get started, I've been thinking about it all week. Remembering, I'm going back to 77 when Jay Bird, when I finally did get the two bishops up, the two center pawns up, the two end rook pawns up one. And that weekend, I didn't beat him, but it was the following weekend I did beat him with it. And he liked it. We played more. And that was the second week I actually beat him with the Jay Bird. Into that weekend. I couldn't wait. I remember all week thinking, couldn't wait to go and play him again. And I beat him. And then he was starting to get upset because I was beating him. And he was thrilled about how great my opening was. And we discussed how the pieces get moved around in the back. And he investigated it. And to go find out, and back then there was like 100 openings or more, 125 openings of chess. And he came back and he said to me about the hippo, and it was the two knights and not the bishops. I said, well, where's the bishops? He says, no. So, and then I want to go investigate it. So when I went to school back then in 77, the library, they didn't have one chess book at all. They didn't even have pictures of chess. Then the local town I lived in, library, chess, there was nothing with chess. So, and it was short-lived. And in the 78 sometime, I stopped playing. Me and Jay Bird split up. And for like a whole year, I thought about my chess and it was gone. And it seemed gone forever. But anyway, let's get down to this game and let's see what this is all about here. E4. I'm in black and this spot of 1550 with no help or hours or assistance whatsoever, or memorization or nothing. E4, E6, D3, A6, C3, D6, F3, D7, the knight over. It looks like the knight above the crown, D4, into the knight's bird, E7, B1, H6, the typical pawn, Jay Bird opening, 1977. I built this structure, except now the bishop was here instead of the knight. That came first before the knight came on the side. I built the Jay Bird first with the bishops here in the middle. Then, after a game or two and we start looking and talking, I realized I can bring the knights around, vice versa, the queen, whatever. And this is what you're seeing now is basically 1977. After H6, D2, G5, I push, but I didn't know to attack like this. I don't know exactly the games, but I know these pieces were pushed around. And then I castled, and it'd be like the knight's bird, rook, knight castle, or bishop castle with a king's crown. I actually did stuff like that, and he'd say, here, look at that. Like, what do you mean? Look at how this is all built up and everything on the castle. It's like, yeah, it's coming back. After G5, B4, F8, and the knight's 88, E2, D7 into the Jay Bird. This was first, before these other pieces were ever moved. The very first game, and the first game I won, too. After D7, A4, G6, C4, C6, E5, D5, and the last one was 1500, and I went 50 more higher ELO just to see, and my strength, it's actually getting better. It's running a little more smoother. Let's go. After D5, B3, B8, D3. Now there's mistakes, maybe a blunders here somewhere on both sides. But, I play the game. I just play what I got and see what I see and just play it. After d3, b5, castles, f5, h3, h5, e1, g4, h2, h3 takes, h3 takes, h6, f3, f7, b5 takes, e2, g8, g3, h4, takes f5, takes e5, check, g5, takes g5, takes e5, d5 2 check, h1, takes e5, d6 check, e7, takes e5, f8, f4, g7, e4, f8, d3. I seen, well, you could have said, well, you could have just take this. No, I didn't want to. I was thinking of something else here. I wanted to open this up more here, not just go trading pieces. After d3, f4 takes, d1, e5 takes f8, takes f8, takes b5, takes b5, g2, g3, g1, f2, c1, c3, g1, takes c2, a1. Now you'd say I go here. I didn't do it. I looked this game over earlier, but I didn't do it that way. Well, how did I go? Let's see. After a1, I went c4. I guess I was just thinking about this pawn and nothing else. And I wasn't looking just to rush in and just do it like that. But after c4, b1, I go c6, he goes e1. There's nothing he can do in this position. Obviously, take a look at this. There's nothing he can do. After e1, d4, e4, takes e4 check, g1, c2, a1. Now I do it. After g2, h1, h2, g1, and that's game. Let me go back over this quick. And like I said, and then I said, well, where'd you get this information? When I saw him the next week, I says, I was in school. I couldn't find, there was no books and chess whatsoever, and this and that. And he wouldn't even tell me. I said, where is it at? So I can start learning. It's like everything started to change when I started beating him. And then he started changing the ELO ideas and everything else. And then it was getting kind of strange. And then I was starting to get upset about it. I remember that. And then one time he also said, oh, I'm going to go talk to somebody and see somebody about this and everything. And he, it was a big thing. I mean, and even to him, he was thrilled about it. And I was more thrilled. I knew I had something. He knew I had something. And then he came back and I said, hey, what happened with that? And he never said anything. I said, that was your dad. He says, no. But he wouldn't tell me who it was, what it was. And he left it. It just seemed to be a mystery, the whole thing. But I didn't let it stress me out. I was getting stressed a little bit because, he was being a mystery about the whole thing. But I knew I did this. And then in the chess club, Matthew said, and that was a bad turnout. It was only 3 or 4 people altogether. I mean, chess fell apart. They never had it again. There was only ever 3 or 4 people ever showing up. And it only lasted like a week or two. And they said they closed it down because nobody's coming. And Matthew says he got to see it. And I says, I wanted to go get some help and get somebody to show me something. And all right, there's game. And he says, well, you got to do it yourself. And I said something else. And he says, well, that's the way it is. Well, I'm here today and I am doing it myself. And I can beat a program up to 2200 with no help whatsoever. I don't know what ELO is. And it's too complicated. Right now I'm playing bad chess. I mean, I got hundreds of database games already. I've been playing a lot of chess lately, and now I'm just tired and exhausted. And I, I'm kind of stuck right now. Feels like I'm starting all over with chess again. Okay, thanks for stopping by, and we're going to have game 49, a Battle of the Boxes.